wanna teach righteous right to report to I come from the streets.
In this video, we are going to discuss how to practically gain a knowledge of self and how to get in closer touch with your first self or higher self. The universe loves gratitude, goodness, growth, and increase. We, as a mini universe, must understand that we become our thoughts, actions, and what we eat and drink. We have been miseducated on the knowledge of God and self. Most of us have experienced enough tricknology and evil to understand Satan on a basic level. But the question still remains, who are we really? When you obtain a knowledge of self, you become more in tune with your divine purpose. Our increase in knowledge and character improvement brings us closer and more in tune with our first self. Unity with our higher self is the ultimate goal, as the higher self only knows perfection. We are at the end of a 6,000-year cycle known as the cycle of self-forgetfulness. We put ourselves to sleep to allow the recessive part of us to manifest a world contrary to the world that we knew 78 trillion years prior. According to Elijah Muhammad, we played sleep while they worked. Now we are awakening and will build a new world which will make yours look like child's play. We have above you 7 inhabited worlds. They are with us. These 7 worlds or heavens, the stars and the moon, show the weight of our brains. Elijah Muhammad continues, no people strive to lose themselves among another people except the so-called American Negro. This they do because they lack a knowledge of self. We have been poisoned spiritually by the doings of this world. Without a knowledge of self, everything that you do will aid your enemy. You'll simply add to the storehouse of your enemy with everything that you do. The lies of this world are purposely manufactured to prevent us from connecting with our higher or divine self. This higher self tries to communicate with us all the time, but our miseducation prevents us from making that connection strong enough to take on our divine work in life. The first of these lies is that we should fear God. You've heard us say it before, I'm a God-fearing man. Well, then you are scared of the very essence of who you are. This is why we often have to be put in a dreamlike state in order to accept this direct communication. Then we wake up as if we had some kind of epiphany. The fear of God causes us to turn our conscience inward whenever we are in the presence of our higher self, and whenever our higher self attempts to communicate with us. We have been taught that no one can see God and live. This is the worst kind of lie, because it pushes the fear of who you really are. God can only communicate to us when we are in a fearless and peaceful state of mind. So the lies of this world are made to directly combat this divine connection. Besides, how can you fear something that you love? God or our higher self currently communicates with us in our sleep or while we're in a dreamlike state, knowing that we will remember parts that we need to remember sooner or later. Our fear of this power causes us to forget our dream as soon as we wake up. The first step in acquiring a knowledge of self is to reprogram our minds. We are not of this world, but we have been partaking in the thoughts and practices that oppose our true nature. Simply put, we have to improve our memories and ourselves. The greatest secret has been kept for 6,000 years and has now been revealed by the Mahdi to us. All black people come from the oneness of God, divine unity. You are the supreme being that you seek to find somewhere else outside of yourself. The vast majority of us have not experienced divine unity with our first or higher self, so we doubt this truth. There's no supreme being separate from you and your ancestors. The only God there is incarnated in us. God is you in your natural perfection, divided into trillions of personalities. Now some may be thinking, but wait, God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. This is true, but he also came in the person of Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, and you. The only difference between you and Master Farad Muhammad is that he's aware of the fact that he is God. We look outside of ourselves because we do not know ourselves. Furthermore, when our divine self makes him or herself known to us, we forget the experience. In summary, the Supreme Being is the divine unity of all black people. This is the one true God. You are a part of this divine unity equal to all other parts. When you unite with your first self, you experience a state of mind where you know yourself as this one God. In this state of mind, there is no one else. You only become supreme over yourself because you have mastered yourself. According to Elijah Muhammad, to be rulers, you have to have superior wisdom and understanding. We need an education that eliminates the division among us, an education that creates unity and makes us desire to be with our own. Elijah Muhammad continues, the accumulating of knowledge, as we now call it, education. First, my people must be taught a knowledge of self. Then and only then will they be able to understand others and that which surrounds them. Anyone who does not have a knowledge of self is considered a victim of either amnesia or unconsciousness and is not very competent. The lack of knowledge of self is a prevailing condition among many people here in America. Gaining a knowledge of self makes us unite into a great unity. Knowledge of self makes you take on the great virtue of learning. Self-knowledge helps you to do for self. Without this knowledge as a basis, everything that you do will assist your enemy. By attaining a knowledge of self, you are able to discover your divine purpose and mission. With a knowledge of self, you could seek a higher education without the danger of losing respect for yourself or seeking to lose your identity. Knowledge of self starts with a desire for self-improvement. When we seek this knowledge, we seek to become our greatest version. We should seek to improve our memories, thoughts, actions, and gain control over what we eat and drink. Elijah Muhammad contests, who is going to teach you a knowledge of self? Who are you waiting for to teach you a knowledge of self? Surely not your slave master who blinded you to that knowledge of self. The slave master will not teach you a knowledge of self, as there will not be a master-slave relationship any longer. For more practical ways on how to gain a knowledge of self, check out our blog posts on this subject at newjeru.com.
God raised the sun from the pavement. Righteous man live around some cavemen. God raised the sun from the pavement. Righteous man live around some cavemen. God raised the sun from the pavement. Righteous man live around some cavemen. God raised the sun from the pavement. Righteous man, a righteous man. Yeah.